So VM is used for messaging as a messaging broker between Mule applications. It's simple messaging broker, right? And the 4 operations in the VM component: publish, and sorry, one publish, 2 consume, and listener, and 4th one is publish consume. The 4 operations, just you need to know and practice once, that is enough. Okay.
Yeah.
And in last session we discussed about publish and consume, right?
Yeah.
So these are both one-way operations. One-way means if you develop a flow, flow, and you configure a component called publish. So what publish will do is publish will publish a message to the VM queue. Okay, you configure VM queue.
I see.
In the VM queue, there is a queue is there. You can name any name to this. You can give name to this. Okay. So it will publish a message to this queue and move ahead, processing the next message. Next process, sorry, move ahead, and next process will process that message, but it won't expect any response from the VM. Just publish one way and execute the next process. Okay. But in the VM, if you define any queue, if you name any queue, right, VM1 or any queue, in the last example, I given name as a VM1.
Yeah.
It's internally, it has 2 channels. Okay. Every queue has 2 channels. One is a primary channel and second is a replay channel. Okay. So
primary and what's the other one?
Replay channel. Replay queue. It's primary queue and replay queue. Replay queue.
Okay. So each queue has that 2 channels.
Exactly. Each queue has 2 channels. One is for taking the input, and one is the giving the output. Like that. You can remember like that. Okay.
Input output.
Publish always places in the input. It won't expect any response from the output queue. Just put the message over here and move forward to the next process. Okay. Whereas a consume also, if you configure a consume and if you configure to a queue, take the message from the queue, like you configure a VM1. What happens is it go to the primary channel and take the message and go use to the next process. Right? Okay. So these 2, this is also one way. This is publishing the message to the channel, and this is consuming the message from the channel. That's it. Okay. Whereas the next 2 components, these 2 components, listener and publish, these are 2-way components. It's not
listen. Okay.
Listener and publish consume. These 2 components are 2-way components. Okay, let me give one small example, and I can show you the any point to be. Okay. See here. I configure a flow. And as part of the processing, I configure a component. This is called VM publish consume. Pub and consume. I'm leaving as pub and consume. This is VM publish consume component. Okay. So what it will do is it will publish a message to the VM queue, to the primary channel. Some people call as a main channel, main queue. Your primary channel, it will publish some message. Okay. and it will expect a response from the replay channel. So even if there are few components you configure as part of the flow, the control won't move further until it has response from the replay channel. Okay, it puts a message in the primary channel and waiting for response on the replay channel. It's blocked for some time. Okay, this is one way, and it's waiting for the second. And there is one more component, a listener. So far, all the three components we discussed are event processors. What are publish,
consume,
and publish, consume. These three components are event processors. They do processing on that event, right?
Okay.
Whereas the one component in the VM stack that is called listener, that is event source.
Listener,
VM listener. Listener, by definition, what is meant by listener is keep on listening for messages. That guy is called listener. Okay. We have HTTP listener. What HTTP listener will do? HTTP listener keep on
listening to HTTP
messages, right?
Yeah.
We saw HTTP listener in your previous examples.
Yeah.
As part of HTTP listener, we configure one port. Okay, 8081 we configure. Okay. So there is one port in your machine, 8081 in your system. The listener always checking for messages in 8081. Just keep on checking every 1 second, 2 seconds. There is some time configured internally. Okay. Every second is keep on checking. From your postman, if you give localhost 8081,
yeah,
postman will put a message in 8081 port. So your listener will take out that message and process the message, right? So the fundamental is listener is a guy is always checking on a port on a place. Okay. VM also in VM listener will to tell where it has to listen. Okay, I tell that the VM please listen on the VM1 queue. So it's keep on listening for message on the VM1 queue. When it find a message in VM1 queue, it takes a message and it processes that message. After processing finishes, it puts the message back to VM, but it puts in a replay queue, not in the main queue. Okay. Take the message from primary queue, process the message, and after processing, it places the message in the replay queue. Right?
That's the VM listener.
VM listener, yeah.
So it listens where? Where does it listen? It listens in the queue or listens in I don't know. Like I don't know where does it listen at the beginning?
Listener listens on the queue.
Queue.
Primary channel.
Okay. So it checks the primary channels all the time.
All time.
Okay. So your example like HTTP listener.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
This I give an example. HTTP listener always listen on the port you configure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where the VM listener, it listens the main queue of the VM.
Exactly correct. Yeah. Okay.
And the main queue of the VM is not it's something that you have to define first, right?
Yes, yeah. You need to define first.
The system MuleSoft or the studio we have, it doesn't create one by itself, or it doesn't exist unless you create, right? The VM listener. The queue, I mean.
Queue, yeah. Queue, as part of the VM configuration, we need to create a queue first.
Okay, once you create, then you can let VM listener listen to queue.
Exactly, yeah. Correct.
And then it checks every time.
Yeah.
If there's a message in the queue.
Yeah.
And then if you bring it in and inside the flow to process those message,
exactly.
It will then process it and it puts back the answer into the reply queue.
Exactly, correct.
Excellent. Now I understand. Thank you.
Very good. Wonderful. So now this guy, right? The first guy I told is publish consume component guy. So this guy places the message in the primary queue and waiting for the message on the reply queue, right?
Yeah.
So once the listener finishes and places that message in the reply queue, it picks that message, then it moves further from this component to this component. Okay. So these two should be configured as a as a batch, because if you configure only publish consume and you don't configure listener, means your publish consume will time out.
Yeah. So you have to have VM listener.
Exactly. Okay. So these two have.
Then after that you have a publish consume.
Yeah. So first, you can define any manner. Order is not important, but these two has to define in your application.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because these two are two-way components, because the publish consume is placing the message in the primary queue and expecting the response on the reply queue, right? Until it get response on the reply queue, it won't move further. It's blocked here itself. Okay. Whereas listener is taking the message from the primary queue and after processing, it is replying on the reply queue, right?
Okay. So somebody, another, I don't know, another channel has to pick it up from the replay and do something with the events or the message.
Yeah.
This guy listens, reads the process the message, and puts in the reply, and then either publish consume or consume can go there and pick it up.
Consume can access only the main queue. It takes the message from the main queue only.
I see. Consume only access to the main.
Exactly. That is one difference.
How about the publish?
Publish also places in the main queue.
Okay. So the only other channel that we can use is the public consume.
Exactly. Yeah.
After the VM listener.
Yeah.
Got it.
People has one doubt. Always my student asks the doubt is, see, both consume and listener both are consuming the messages from the VM. Okay. Then what is the difference between consume and listener?
Consume and listener.
Consume also consuming the message from the queue. VM also consuming the message from the queue. Sorry, listener also consuming a message from the queue. Then what is the difference between consuming using consume component and consuming using listen component?
Yeah, I think the way you explained to me was that the consume can only consumes message from the main channel or main queue.
Okay, that's wonderful.
That's it. Where the listener, it can also get the information from listens the main queue, but it puts the message into reply queue.
Yeah, that's true. But in terms of consuming the message, in terms of consuming the message, so the primary difference is for consume. See,
one consumes the queue, right, and the other one listens.
See, let me put the listener over here. This is VM listener. Okay. Just but stopped. Okay, I'm VM listener. I'm listening on a queue called the VM1. So here also consuming message from the VM1 queue.
Okay.
And listener also listening messages on the
VM1. Yeah.
So the primary difference is in the behavior they are consuming the message. Okay. So
Okay.
if you observe the consume, if somebody triggers this listener from the postman, it gets the invoked, then it will call consume, then consume will go and pick up the message. Okay.
Okay.
If somebody not call this listener, consume will sit idle. It won't go and pick the message until it gets the invocation.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Then only it go and pick the message. Okay.
So it doesn't listen. It just consumes the message.
Consumes the message. Whereas the listener, nobody need to invoke this one.
Yeah.
Just keep on listening on the queue. Is message,
That's right.
is message there? Is message there? If message available, then it picks the message immediately.
That's right. Do you know the name? Actually, the name says everything, right?
Yes.
One listen is the queue, and the other one consumes the.
Somebody to tell to consume. Hey, consume, go and pick up the message. Then you go and pick the message.
Yeah.
Or else it sit idle.
Yeah, got it.
So that is.
I don't know why we make. It's very simple the way that they define it or instruct it, but somehow I don't know, and we think it's more than we're thinking it's more than what the name says, but it's okay. So you're right. One listens the queue and then does whatever that I need to be done after. And where the consume one, somebody has to tell that to consume the message.
Exactly. Okay. So that is the primary difference between consumer and the listener.
Okay.
Got it. So this is very important. People often confuse replay queue and the main queue. So every queue, the replay queue is idle. Means replay queue. Always people focus on the main queue. Okay, even if you read any kind of stuff in the books, in articles, they won't give the idea about the replay queue actually. How this message, Then for two-way communication, there are two channels. One is the main channel, replay channel. Therefore, only for two-way communication. So that you need to understand clearly that one. Right? Then let me quickly give one example. There are published consume also, and move on to the next topic. Okay. I'm configuring one more listener. Listener, this one I'm giving path as /pub consume, publish and consume. PubCom. And I'm configuring the publish consume component. So this publish consume component.
It's to like consume. It need to be somebody has to tell them to.
Somewhere.
So it requires input, right? So it's waiting some. It's waiting for someone like a listener to ask either publish or consume.
I didn't get you. I'm sorry, Adam.
Yeah, the difference between the public consume and what do you call an input.
Okay.
Like you were saying earlier. Oh, I'm sorry. The difference between listener and public consume still public consume, somebody has to tell it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
To go there, publish it or consume.
Correct.
We're a listener, and it listens to queue.
Exactly.
Got it.
Only listener is the only component in the VM stack. It is a event source, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Rest of all the three components are event processors only. Means somebody
All
will
right.
call that one.
That's right. That's right. Event processor.
Event processor only here. When you are configuring the first time the VM component, right? Okay. That time you need to create the queues. Like VM1, VM2 are created queues, first component. Next component onwards, you can use that configuration, or you can create some more queues. That depends upon your requirement.
Yep.
Okay. See, I'm using this configuration called VM config. VM config is a configuration. It already has two queues.
Yeah.
Okay, VM1 and VM2. So if you want to, you can use this configuration to publish and consume, or you don't want to use this configuration, you want to create a new configuration, that's fine. Then what you can do is, instead of choosing this one, let's add
one. Yeah.
And I'm adding edit inline. I'm adding one more queue, something like queue. I'm giving name as VM2. Okay. See the configuration name as VM config 1. You can give that also, can customize you want. Now I'm publishing to.
You have to give a name.
VM2. Sorry, VM2 or VM1.
Your choice, yeah.
Let me see the configuration now. See, VM config is the one configuration. It has two queues, VM1 and VM2. Okay. And I have one more VM configuration. The name of that is VM config 1, or you want to change the name also. VM config 1 by default comes, and it has the queue called VMQ2. Right?
Yeah.
So now in your components, when you're publishing or consuming, you can choose using which configuration you're using. You're using VM config or VM config 1. Okay.
I see.
In the publish, I'm using the configuration of VM config. Right? In the consume, I'm using configuration VM config.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to change, I can change the configuration. I can use VM config 1. Okay.
Okay.
So depends upon our requirement, we can choose that one. Okay. What my intention is, your project may have multiple VM configurations. That's my intention.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
Maybe
maybe one that listens, and the other one might be publish and consume, and maybe the other one is publish it again.
Yes. Now the listener also, I'm using the VM config 1, and okay. Now what I'm doing is I'm publishing a message over here, and that message is consumed by your listener, right? And here, what I'm doing is I'm adding some kind of sector component. Some message I'm printing over here.
Okay. This message payload
something
get processed.
So we discussed about debug process, right?
Yeah, the process.
The debug process.
In
Debug how to debug the Mule application, the debug process.
I think we touched it in first couple of sessions where we can put a like a marker or some or breakdown, something like that.
Breakpoint,
Yeah,
that's important. We need to see, we can see all what variables are created, what payload, what are the attributes are there.
Yeah, that's right.
Any point of time you want to check, you can check. If something is going wrong, that's quite useful. The debug is quite useful. What's happening at some point there. Don't worry, anytime while discussing some complex example also, I will show the debug.
Okay.
So now it is deployed. Now I want to use this component and publish something over here. Okay. So I'm going to Postman. And what's the path I've used? I used path called pubcon. And what port I'm configured? 8085. Right? So in the Postman, 8085, I'm using pubcon. And I'm posting some message over here and post the body. Some text message I'm posting. Okay. A text message as order 1, 2, 3. I'm passing some random message. Order 1, 2, 3. One sec.
Do you want to do like attributes that payload?
I don't want
listeners.
some simple text message I want.
Okay.
Okay. So I can tell you how dynamically we can capture and that also send as a response. For that we use a different component. Set payload is not supporting that one. Save it. Started. So if I send this order, this order got processed, right?
Yeah. Okay. That's what's in the payload.
How I'm getting that response is so here this consume right. So The pen is not activating for some reason. One second, Adam, please bear with me.
Yeah, sure.
Now you are seeing my AnyPoint Studio, right? As of now?
I see, yeah, AnyPoint Studio.
Okay. Some reason my pen is not activating. Okay. So this consume component, sorry, this publish component is published component.
Mm-hmm.
What we'll do is this will publish to the queue, right? To the main, right?
Yeah.
Publish the main queue, and this listener will pick up that message from the main queue.
Okay.
Right? And listener processes what is happening is, let me try to capture this one. Okay, so whatever message I post from the postman, right? So here multiple things you need to understand, Adam. So I post HTTP message.
Okay.
And what this listener will do, converts this to Mule event message, right? That we discussed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Attributes, payload, and variables, right?
Yeah.
So that is given to the publish consume component. But Mule event is given for the publish consume component.
Mule events, yeah.
Right? But publish component, what this publish consume component will do? We configured one queue, right? The queue name is given as
VM1.
Q2. The name of
Okay.
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 It has the primary channel and replay channel. Okay. So right now it has Mule event in hand. Publish consume will do is it converts Mule event to the VM message.
Yeah.
Okay. So VM message. The VM message structure is standard messaging structure like header and body. Okay.
Header and body.
So whatever there in the payload, the content is copied to the body.
Yeah.
Okay. And by in the header default it puts something, but we don't have any control on the header. Whatever we put some headers inside header section, and this is given to the your VMQ primary channel.
The body goes to the primary channel.
Okay. Then what the listener is doing? Listener is always checking messages on the primary channel. Okay, it's basically every few seconds checking for message on the primary channel, right?
Okay.
So once this component puts the message in the primary channel, it picks up that message. It picks up that message and given to this. Now, what is this message? This message is VM message, right?
Yeah.
Because this guy is converted to VM and put the VM message inside. Okay. So the VM listener is capable of understanding the VM message. It understands the VM message.
That's right. That's right.
Right. Then it converts that VM message to the
Mule events.
payload section, payload component. The payload component modifies the payload. Whatever payload, existing payload, it modifies the payload. And what payload it puts is, I just define that payload. So this order got passed. This is the payload. It puts that, it replaces with this message. Okay. Next, the logger will not do anything, but anyway, after that, it processing. The same mule event is given back to your VM listener. Okay. So what VM listener will do is it converts the response mule event to VM message again, and that VM message put in the reply channel. Okay. So this publish consume component is waiting for response to the reply channel. Once this listener, the listener places the message in the reply channel, pick up that message and send it back to your postman. Therefore, the postman is able to see that message.
Whoa. Okay.
Okay.
So when we got a response back on the what do you call the postman?
Yeah.
It means it went through all of that, and we get the result back from the publish consume channel.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, if you could go back to your postman now, and is this how you configure right now? Like this one, the order got processed.
This one.
Popcorn.
Yeah, popcorn I configured right now.
Yeah. So that's the second. That's the listener then.
The listener, HTTP listener, popcorn.
Yeah. Which one is that?
HTTP listener.
The HTTP listener. Okay.
HTTP listener. Therefore, so postman I'm giving as popcorn.
Okay. So then that's the first one, right?
Yeah.
Popcorn. So popcorn then went to the publish consume.
Yeah.
And then it published the message into the VM, right? VM queue.
Correct.
And then the listener sub and the second subflow, and the listener listens the queue, the VM queue one, and then set the payload, and then logged, right?
Yes.
Then after that, the publish consume read the message from the reply queue.
Exactly.
And then publish it in the postman.
Correct.
Wow. It did very quick though. We were not waiting much. It was very fast.
Exactly. Yeah.
So can you for just configuration wise, can you go one more time the tabs, what's configured what?
Okay, sure. See, the first component you configure is listener, right? HTTP listener.
Yeah.
This is to take the message from the postman.
That's right.
Okay.
And you call it popcorn.
This popcorn. The path is popcorn.
Yeah.
The path is popcorn. And
okay.
The port and host are localhost 8085.
Yep.
Okay. So that is configuration of your HTTP listener.
Yeah.
Next, I configure a component called publish consume component.
Okay.
Okay. Here I'm referring the configuration as VM config 1. This is a configuration referring.
Okay.
See that VM config 1. It has one queue. The queue name is
VMQ2.
Okay. Right?
Yeah.
I can refer this configuration.
I know. You had a choice, yeah. But this one we're using VMQ2.
VM2, right? So I'm publish the payload. What payload I'm coming from the client, the same payload I'm putting over here. And
okay.
That
puts put the message in the VMQ2.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
So
then
MQ2.
okay. Yeah.
And see if it is, see one more configuration is timeout configuration. Timeout 5 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, what is timeout 5 seconds? Any idea, Adam?
So it okay, I think yeah. So let me see if we can understand. So it will connect to the VMQ2 and puts the message. If there is a problem or something like that, it's gonna time out after 5 seconds.
Yeah. So it puts a message on the main queue.
Yeah.
And waits for the response on the replay queue, right?
Okay.
Okay.
So this one, it doesn't wait much. It's 5 seconds.
5 seconds. Okay. So within
so 5 seconds waiting to the reply.
Reply queue.
Does it get answers in 5 seconds?
Yeah, it's less than 5 seconds, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Because the listener knows that message, and listener, there is much, processing there. The listener only set payload is there, logger is there. It won't take that much time, right?
Okay. Okay. But normally you in real world work situation,
yeah,
you expand that time, right?
Exactly. If your listener has so much configuration, some database lookups and some other configuration, okay, it's processing sometimes. Therefore, we put that much of amount.
Whatever time is good. No, thank you. So now then, and it published that into the VMQ2, and then after that, the listener, the second one, and VM listener, kicks in, right?
Yeah, this one picks that message from the channel.
So this one comes in.
Yeah.
It looks the VMQ2.
Yeah.
And okay, and then grabs the. So this time we don't tell them what the message. Just grab whatever the VMQ2, right?
Whatever.
It doesn't care what kind of message it is. It just grabs whatever the VMQ2 has.
Exactly. In the primary channel.
Yeah, primary channel. Yeah.
Okay.
So it grabs there, and then it creates a new payload.
Yeah.
And the payload you put it where something got processed.
Correct.
And that it got logged. Then after that, the publish consume gets the response back.
Yeah.
From okay, so okay, whenever we set the payload, and when we set the payload, is that when it sends the message back to the reply channel?
No, just we are modifying the payload over here. It won't send. Just we're changing the payload.
Yeah, you change the payload.
Yeah.
Then what? After that, it wants to log.
Yeah.
You log it.
We are just empty logger, but if you print something, you print it.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So then it went back to the message flow.
Message to reply queue.
And when it comes to message flow, then it puts stuff in the reply channel, reply queue.
Yeah.
And then public consume gets the. So I have a question. Then why don't you put a log or something?
You can put over here. Yeah. Just.
No, I have a question.
Yeah.
So okay. So this is right now. We're not seeing like I want to see what the reply channel has. What replied.
Yeah. That's invisible actually. We can't.
Okay.
The contents of the queues and channels in the VM.
Okay. So what we don't know is that the last message you got where it says that something got processed.
Exactly.
We don't know if that's coming from on the second flow or that's coming from after publish consume. We don't know.
It's from second flow itself, right? We did modifications in the second flow itself. Yeah. You don't know exactly. Yeah. Ideally, we can do, but in this case, we are doing, we do modifying over here for, the payload. I'm sending back to reply queue.
Yeah, so you're right. You set the payload, you logged it, and it's hard to see like from here what what information that the reply, what do you call that, the reply and a queue has. I don't know, but hopefully we'll learn more later. But I think by now I understand the concept.
Very good.
At this point, I just want to understand the how the message flows and how the logic works. And later, I think when we have a real-time situations, I think we will see that and things under the hood.
Exactly. Yeah. As of now, I think we're clear about these two one-way, two-way, main channel, replay channel, that thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Try to do some this example. Then you'll get idea about that. Okay.
That's right. Okay.
Okay. Next thing is try to see this always. Any configuration you did on the graphical end. Come to source code and try to see what code got generated in the source code mode. So see how this VM's configuration is happening, how the HTTP configuration got created in the source code. So this understanding is necessary going forward. Okay. And if you see every component, right? Every component has some unique ID. So doc ID is a unique ID for every component. It's automatically got created. Whenever you configure a component, a unique ID got associated with that component. Okay. Okay, don't worry on that. If you don't understand us, that's fine. As of now. Yeah. So unique ID for each and every component. Listener the unique ID, publish the unique ID, logger the unique ID. What that unique ID is? If you go to configuration, see for this listener, this doc colon ID, right? This is unique ID got generated here. 0.035. This is ID. Okay, this ID identifies this component uniquely. Whereas VM config, this is a unique ID for VM config. VM config 1, this is a unique ID. Okay, so as of now, student, understand the significance of this uniqueness. Later, when you configuring the MUnit and the other kind of stuff, then you understand the importance of the unique ID. Just remember that each component has a unique
ID
associated with the component.
Okay.
Okay.
So duck, what is a duck?
Yeah.
Is that duck? What is that? What is a DOC?
The doc ID, yeah. Doc colon ID.
What does it stand for? Like
it's like a document identification number ID.
Yeah, document. Oh, it's document ID.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine.